Hello everyone. Hope you're all okay. We're just at the final points of getting everything finished up, ready in school, in preparation for seeing the children on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. And we're very, very excited about seeing them and looking forward to getting back to doing what we do best here, which is working with you and the wider community to look after the wonderful children in this community. However, I've got a really important message that I want to get across this afternoon. So forgive the lots of videos. I don't want anybody to have video fatigue of the staff, in quite frank, but we're finding that this is an effective way to get important messages across. And this message this afternoon is probably the most important that we've done so far. It relates to the possibility of children showing or demonstrating symptoms of COVID-19 or coronavirus, as it's otherwise being called, when they are in school next week. I know that we all would rather that doesn't happen, and our hope is that we're not going to be faced with any challenges around that, but realistically we've got to plan for such an eventuality, and that's a reality to the current pandemic. So what I wanted to explain were just a couple of things that are part of our processes and procedures should a child be in school and demonstrate symptoms, or an adult indeed, and demonstrate symptoms of COVID-19. The first thing I'd want to say on this is that it's imperative that if you are concerned about any symptoms that your child's got, if they're not well indeed in any way, we wouldn't normally send our children to school if they weren't very well, and for obvious reasons and current circumstances, we would fully expect everybody to be extra cautious. So please over the weekend and early next week, just monitor the symptoms. The symptoms are well publicised, but please check those on the websites, the Welsh Government websites, for the latest information. But the first point of safety for us is avoiding children coming to school who have already got symptoms. Once the children are in school and they are in their safety pods, their protective pods, again, we've gone to great lengths really to organise and illustrate to you how those are going to work. And in many ways, they are going to reduce the risk involved in any child contracting any virus from anybody else. However, as we've acknowledged all the way along, there is still the potential for a child or an adult in school demonstrating symptoms. If your child was to demonstrate symptoms, I think there's a few things to acknowledge here. Nobody in school is a medical expert. The ultimate responsibility for making a decision on whether to isolate a child and call a parent is my decision, and I have no medical training other than first aid training. So the rule of thumb for us is that we are going to be extra cautious. The situation demands that we are, and I'm sure all parents and carers would fully understand why we need to be extra cautious. So under those circumstances, a child in the class, your child demonstrates some of those symptoms, I will be called by the class teacher on the internal telephone system. I will come down to the class. I will bring the child to one of our isolation rooms. Now, we're currently sitting in a Key Stage 2 library. In the juniors, that is one of our isolation rooms. We have designated isolation rooms throughout the school, a safe space, a highly ventilated safe space that the children, whilst waiting for their parents to collect them, would be able to sit. I will remain with the child at a socially appropriate distance, and we endeavour to make that as pleasant an experience as it can be under the circumstances. So the focus will be on ensuring that that's a compassionate isolation. Meanwhile, I would have contacted the office and the girls in the office would have contacted you. So it's absolutely vital at this point that we have all the contact information, the correct contact information for you, and that also that if you, on the day that your child or children are in school with us, you need to make sure that if you are not available to come and collect them at any moment, that you've made arrangements for somebody. We have to consider the possibility that this is going to happen. So that responsibility is on you. And I don't mean that to sound harsh. I realise that for many of you, the opportunity on that day, perhaps to go back to work, etc. But equally, what we've got to imagine there is that your child is sitting with me in an isolation room, and the longer that period goes on, the more worrying that would be for the child, really, the more distressing it would be. So it's absolutely key we have the correct contact information, and that you either are able to come to school quickly, or that you've made arrangements anticipating that might happen. Under those circumstances, then you would contact, or the office would contact you. We would make arrangement then for myself to bring your child out to the Stanley Road exit point, and you would take your child. Now, what we would really need at that point, because at that point, all we've got there is a suspected symptom. We haven't got a confirmed case of COVID-19, so we would then be strongly advising you, A, to contact your doctor and to arrange a swift test, and then B, and this is also vital, that you then communicate the result of that test back to school, so school is fully aware of either a negative or positive test. The second scenario we need to consider there is that your child isn't the child who has demonstrated a symptom, but is in the protective pod with that child. So under those circumstances, we've just gone through the first scenario, we've done all of those things. The class teacher then will take the remaining children in that pod to a safe place in another part of the school. So they will go then to what is normally our nursery building, what we call the green nursery, where Mrs. Priest is normally, so that the pod would transfer there while we close down that classroom and order a deep clean from the local authority in order to shut down any potential virus. We would then contact all parents of the children who are in that pod to inform them, to inform you that a child has gone home that day with potential symptoms. At that point, you will be free, if you wish, obviously, to come and collect your child. We would urge caution that wouldn't be a confirmed case of COVID-19. That would be the school was sufficiently concerned about the health of that child to make a phone call. So at that point for you, it's a decision, are the children okay, safe in school, or would I feel better if I came to collect them? Either option is available to you, and we'll manage the safe collection of children equally. They will be safe to remain in school with staff. We will then inform all parents, because at the end of that day, it will be the following week that we will then see that group of children again. So there is a built-in period here of not being in school. And we would keep you informed as parents of whether we knew of a positive or negative test in order for you to know whether it was okay to come in the following week. We would also make a judgment call then about the Tuesday group and the Wednesday group and the Thursday group, depending on what day it was. So the rest of the children who would come into that pod, we would make an informed decision about what is safe based on the knowledge that we have at that time. Now, I realise that this is these are sober messages to give to you, but I feel it's very important that we face up to the potential reality of children demonstrating symptoms. I think it's important for everyone to acknowledge that symptoms could be quite wide-ranging at this time of year. It's very hot, so children's temperatures are likely to be high. It's also a time of year when children pick up various bugs. Like I said earlier, we are not medical professionals in school. We are going to, for the sake of your children, every other child and our staff here, we are going to be extra cautious. So hopefully that outline there of what we would do and what our expectations are for you is helpful to you. If you've got any queries or questions, just follow them up in a question relating to this video, and we will endeavour to get back to you. I just want to really put on record our thanks for all the support to date, and the patience that you've shown, and the positivity that you've shown, and the support you've given school. It's really meant a lot. The staff this week are really positive and energised and excited. It's just the messages that we're asking today. This is the big ask, really, is that we only come to school next week if we're confident that we are symptom-free, and that should give us a chance to have make the best of these 3 weeks before the summer holiday. So thank you for listening to yet another message, but really appreciate it. Take care, stay safe over the weekend, and we look forward to seeing you from next week onwards. Okay, thanks.